Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are going to unwrap the secret history of Santa Claus. And let me tell you, it's a story that's way older and, frankly, a lot weirder than you probably think. We're talking pagan gods, actual demons, ancient kings, the whole shebang. Okay, so you know this guy, right? The big, jolly man in the red suit. But where did he really come from? I'll give you a hint. His story doesn't start with a Coke ad. No. His roots run deep, way, way deeper, into a world of Norse gods and ancient winter spirits. All right, let's kick things off with Santa's secret origins. So where do we even start to look for the real Santa? Well, we're not heading to the North Pole. We're going way back in time, to a point where Christian saints and pagan gods, well, they kind of started to overlap. Okay, so the story does begin with a real person, a saint from the 3rd century. But that's not where the magic comes from, right? I mean, the flying sleigh, the elves, a bishop doesn't really explain all that. To get to the bottom of that stuff, we have to dig into traditions that are much, much older. We're talking pre-Christian. So could the All-Father of the Norse gods also be the All-Father of Christmas? Well, our search for Santa's magical side is going to take us to the snowy world of Norse mythology and right into the heart of the Vikings' midwinter festival, Yule. Okay, just look at this comparison for a second. On one side, you've got the Norse god Odin, also known as the Yule Father. And what's he like? Well, he has a long white beard, he leads a wild hunt across the winter sky on a flying horse, and he has gift-making elves and dwarfs. Sound familiar? The parallels to our modern Santa Claus are, they're pretty undeniable, right? It's kind of amazing. And it's not just us making this connection. Folklorist Margaret Baker really nails it with this quote. She points out that this idea of, a blue-hooded, white-bearded gift-bringer riding through the midwinter sky, that's not some new thing. It's an ancient archetype, a story that just changed over time, evolving from this powerful Norse god into the Father Christmas we know today. But hold on, the story doesn't just borrow from benevolent, gift-giving gods. It also has a much, much darker side. See, in some parts of Europe, St. Nicholas didn't fly solo. He had, let's call him, a partner whose job it was to handle the naughty list. Yeah, meet Krampus. In the folklore of places like Austria and Bavaria, this horned, demonic figure was basically St. Nick's enforcer. Think about it. The saint brings gifts for the good kids, and Krampus, he's there to punish the ones who misbehaved. It's the ultimate good cop, bad cop of Christmas. And this guy came prepared. Krampus had a whole devil's toolkit. He'd carry clinking chains just to announce he was coming. He had a bundle of birch branches. You can guess what those were for. And he had a sack or a basket on his back. Not for toys, but to literally carry away the worst offenders. Talk about a way to keep kids in line. So for the longest time, Krampus was pretty much unheard of in America. But then, starting around the early 2000s, he had this massive revival. You had documentaries, you had these Krampus-run parades popping up in big cities, and then in 2015, bam, a Hollywood movie. This ancient devil basically became a modern counterculture holiday icon. It's wild. Okay, so let's shift gears and journey a little further east. We're heading into the world of Eastern European folklore, where the winter tradition is less about, punishing kids, and way more about preserving some absolutely incredible artistry. So here we meet Ded Moroz, which translates to Father Frost, and his granddaughter, Snegurochka, the Snow Maiden. Now, these two are the beloved stars of New Year's celebrations, and their story isn't told through fear at all. It's told through these stunning, handcrafted outfits that are basically living pieces of cultural history. And these aren't just costumes. They're recreations of actual clothing worn by nobility in the 13th century Kievan Rus. Take this piece, the barma. It's this super ornate collar, covered in pearls and embroidery, and it's directly inspired by what ancient royalty would have worn. And that incredible detail carries through to every piece. These are the porci, which are basically elaborate cuffs. See, back in the 13th century, really long sleeves were a status symbol, a sign of wealth. So these cuffs were practical, they held the sleeves back, but they were also seen as protective, almost like a spiritual shield for the wrists. And even the smallest details are packed with meaning. This thing here is called a kosnik. It's this beautiful, weighted ornament that would be attached to the end of a maiden's long braid. And the braid itself was a huge deal back then. It was a powerful symbol of a young woman's virtue and beauty. So, we've gone from Norse gods to terrifying Alpine devils to the beautiful traditions of Slavic nobility. What does this all tell us? Where does it all lead?
Well, what it shows is that our modern holiday figures are basically a recipe, right? You take a dash of ancient pagan mythology, you mix in some Christian saint legends, add a healthy dose of regional folklore, and then sprinkle in some modern pop culture and even corporate advertising. It's a blend of everything. So, when you think about it, the Santa we know today has echoes of a Norse god, a history with a terrifying devil sidekick, and relatives that are walking pieces of art. These characters aren't static. They're complex, they're evolving, they're living cultural creations. And that really leaves us with one final big question. Just like the old Yule Father became Father Christmas, and just like Krampus is having this crazy comeback in the US, this evolution is clearly not over. So it makes you wonder, right? As these stories keep mixing and changing, who's going to be the Santa of the future?